This is the last one that they had, and had to go to a couple of supply houses because normally I go to Johnstone, but they didn't have any, and our backup, well, you know, there's a few in town, so got the last one in town. So it's just gonna mount on the walk-in. I'll show that, and then there's 3 wires that we hook up to where the old one did, and I'll show you what we did to it when I get there. Alright, so I tried recording myself replacing it, but you're just gonna pop the old one off, mount the new one in. They're color coded, so you put them back in the same spot. If you have any issues with that, follow the schematic, which I'll go over also. It's just red, brown, and black. And you got N, X, and F as the terminals. You read them on there. So now we'll tie strap it. This is just a sensor for the coil there. And it tells you on the side what it does. So basically under 35 degrees, fans come on. Over 55, they're off. So that's gonna be for your defrost. Alright guys, so I came up on the roof. Hopefully you guys can see this one. And I'm gonna check something because my dad was the one that got here first the other day, so he kind of went and walked through the unit, and I believe he told me that the X terminal was taken off the timer, which is for the defrost termination. So since we replaced it and I know it works, I want to put it back. It's not on there. Oh, what the hell. Okay. Never seen this one. Okay, so this one's probably my X. Yeah, it's labeled right there, X. So I'm gonna put that one back. So we're gonna shut it down. And then we're just going to should be loose already. Put this up here. So at some point this was changed out. I will recommend a timer on this one. So this is kind of hacked. Let's set the right time while we're here. And I mean, it works. Obviously the box is to temp, there's no ice. It's defrosting the way it should. I just want to put the X back on for that termination switch to make sure that we are at least running properly. This is a Grassland timer housing with a 8145 timer. That's not supposed to be in there, so somebody must have done that when they didn't have the right timer. I will recommend probably just a whole new timer with a housing, just so that this doesn't break and fail. So now let's turn this back on and finish up. Anyway, this is what I was trying to show earlier, but my camera didn't catch it. Basically, these were the wires going to the board, the terminal block, and these were the wires. These other ends were going to the termination switch. So Red and black is for your fans. Basically, I troubleshooted him over the phone because he got here and he wasn't sure what to do. And I was like, it sounds like, I mean, you need your fans to come on. So can you bypass the switch? Which, if you don't have the part on you, just bypass red and black on these. Verify in your schematic that that's going to your fans, and then wire them together. He got it going. And I was able to get here last night anyway, just to check it and make sure that it was working and everything. Check this out, the bad one, so I can go get a new one today. So that's that, and I'll try and explain that in a bit. I just got to get out of here. Everything's working. It's down to temp, so we're good. All right, and just to explain real quick, I decided not to do the YouTube membership. I'm just gonna do training videos, how-to videos, explaining some stuff here and there as bonus content during the week. So don't worry, weekends are still for the service calls. So usually those are up every Saturday morning. And then during the week, some videos are just gonna start popping up as bonus content for the guys that it could help out. So hopefully those videos do good. You guys have been crushing it on views. Subscriber count has gone up pretty good over the past few months. So if this doesn't hurt my channel, this will be like a weekly thing. But I think it'll help a lot of guys out. So I didn't want to charge for it after all. But if I ever do a YouTube membership thing, it'll be more for actual, like, maybe lives and things where I do more one-on-one with you guys. I do plan on doing lives eventually, just to have them to discuss different things that you guys might need help with anyway. So I'm figuring this out as we go. I don't know how to do all this stuff. So, and if you guys remember my torch kit that I showed you guys a while back, I used to use this for my torch stuff. It's now my vlogging video kit. So I'm trying to step up a little bit and address some issues that I've had with like audio and angles and stuff like that. So I want to improve the content. I'm not going to change my style. It's still going to be on my phone. It's still going to be like this, what you're used to. So it's been doing well, and I'm going to keep doing it. Just trying to improve on some points that I needed to. Like I said, audio and angles. So basically, we have a bad termination switch / fan delay. So if you guys can tell, this one was bad. So we have this is the old one. It's the original one. You can tell it's very old. The obvious sign is if they pop. So I was troubleshooting over the phone. Just so you know, I wasn't the first one there. I feel like I'm getting pretty good at that. That's why I kind of want to do training videos now, because I've been troubleshooting with my dad, who doesn't do HVAC, and I've also sent out my brother and helped him through some stuff, and all of our guys that have called me. So called over the phone and was telling me basically that their complaint was that it was icing up, it wasn't reaching temp, and they never saw the fans come back on. So the video they sent out to us, I don't think I can show it because it came out real tiny on my phone. I think they had bad service or something. So basically it was iced up, but I could see the heater strip in the back. So I'm like, well, it's in defrost. You know, your heaters are working. But my dad went out there first because it was at night. I couldn't. Well, he said he would take care of it. I tried to help him over the phone. So he went and he's asking me, like, do you think it's low on charge? Do you think there's another issue? Because he said it was iced up all the way to the compressor. And I'm like, well, you got to run your defrost. Make sure you get all the ice off first. That's the first step in anything. And then run it and see what it does. So he took off all the ice. He hooked up gauges just in case. Rule of thumb here is about 30 or 25 over ambient on your high side when you're reading on the gauge. So our ambient right now is about 50, and it might have been even colder last night. I don't remember if this one has a fan cycle switch. Actually, I told them not to pay attention to the low side because if it's icing up without the fans, you can't go by the low side. And neither the high side either. So you need your fans on. So he was getting a pretty good high side considering the ambient and the fans being off. So I was like, no, if it was low on charge, it would be a lot lower. But you can't verify without the fans because the fans make a big difference. Whenever you hook up to a freezer, just know that they have fan delays. They're not going to come on right away. And when you're checking pressures, when it's during that fan delay, it's not going to look the same as a normal operating system. Pressures are going to be a lot lower. So I told them we need to get the fans on, and I was like, what's the temp? Well, one of my questions was, what's the temp in the box? So he sent me a picture of a thermometer that they used, and it was like 35 in there. Considering it was 35, I was like, you're probably getting around 20 degrees on that coil. That fan delay should have already closed, and you should already have your fans on because it was in refrigeration mode, and we had no fans. And I always tell people don't get scared because there is a delay, but once you reach, and it's really around 50 degrees, that you should see your fans kick on. Usually those delays are set for 35 degrees from the coil. So 35 degrees translates to about 50 in the box. That's when it usually turns on. So I was like, no, you're way too cold, so we're gonna have to bypass. I told him, look for the fan delay, which is also the defrost termination. And I was like, it's gonna have 3 wires. It's gonna be a brown, red, and black. Those are common. So he looked for it, and off the top of my head, I don't go by colors. One thing I learned in school: don't go by colors. Don't go by really don't go by labels either. You need a schematic, or you need to know, or you need to trace your wires to be certain. So I was like, I don't remember off the top of my head what colors they are. I don't change them out often. But you're gonna have to bypass the switch so that you power up your fans. So on this one, I believe it was N and F, because X is gonna be your termination for a defrost. So I was like, you're gonna have to bypass N to F, which powers your fan. And basically he cut out, the red and the black wire, and he tied them together on the board. So this went to the board, and he just tied them together, and we zip tied them in there, and the fans came on. So once the fans came on, I was like, okay, you have a bad switch. And of course, that's when he looked at it from the side, and he noticed that it was popped. So dead giveaway is that if your fans don't come on, if it's popped, it's bad. Also, I've gone in there and disconnected this, or not disconnected the wires, and you can ohm it out. If you're 20 degrees in there, 30 degrees in there, and it's open, it's not doing its job. All right, guys, so the best way I can show you, I have it submerged in ice water there, and we should be around 32 degrees, give or take a few. But it's in there with the ice, and I've been letting it sit for a while, so we should have that. So we're going to be on continuity for the tone. I already have it hooked up to where the fan would be hooked up, and we have no tone, even though we have 32 degrees. So, of course, X would be our termination, so we'll check that when I warm it up and I take it out. Alright, so when you have issues with your fan, you're checking across red and black, right? So I warmed this up, took it out, and put it in my hands. Now I did this already before I hit record, and I actually felt this thing pop in my hands. So it moved. Fan side is supposed to be open, so right now it's normal, but you didn't see it close when it was in the ice. And when it was in ice, we didn't have any continuity to the defrost termination side, because when it's cold enough, it's not going to close because it wants to stay in defrost. But like I said, I warmed it up, you know, past the 50-degree mark, and that's going to act like if your heaters have been on too long and the box is already getting warm. So now it's going to send signal to the X on your timer to kick it out. All right, so I heard it click and it gave me a tone. Then I hit record and the tone stopped. So this thing's just failing altogether. So right now when it's warm, these two should be closed on the switch and telling the defrost clock to kick out of defrost. And since it's warm, it's not going to send signal to your fan. That's why these two are also not going to have a signal or not be closed. And that was the issue that we had. That's why for the temporary repair, we put these two together coming from the terminal with a wire nut. Easy fix until we got this. So now I've never opened one of these, so why don't we take a look here as to what happened inside since it popped. So that's all it is. Just wasn't doing what it's supposed to. I could hear it click, so it is trying to do the switching, but just failed to make contact between these two wires. X was working. It stopped working right now, but it was working for the termination, although somebody had taken off X over on the timer, so I don't know if they've had issues with it before. And the fan side of it, where these two should close together, was not working. So these are basic switches. It just goes from fan, open and close, and then it goes to your goes to the X terminal to go to the defrost timer to kick it in and out of like an early defrost, to kick it out early if it's too warm in the box. Now, don't get this one confused with the heater limit. I'm not sure if that's the proper name, but there's one with that looks just like this. That's 2 wires, and that's like a backup to this for the heater. So if it gets too hot, that will kick it out of defrost as well. But that one has a higher range, so that's more like if it's like way too hot, like over 70, 80 degrees, that's a backup. So those are fairly simple. Like I said, by the phone call and what I could tell, I was like, you don't have a charge issue. You don't have really an issue with that unit. It's going to be something that's tripped. A lot of times these safeties are what gives you issues. And just don't be going out there bypassing everything. Now, we bypassed it to get them going overnight because they called us in after 5. And I wasn't able to get the part. I didn't have the part. Nobody has this right now. A lot of people are out of stock of like random things. I got like the last one at a different distributor than what I usually go to. My part house didn't have it. And when I asked the guy, because I was actually going to buy an extra one, and he's like, no, that's our last one, and I don't know when we're going to get more. Johnstone told me that they ordered some in January, and we are now March, and they are still waiting. They never received them, so they're going to get with me whenever they get them in. And if all else fails, look on Amazon, or I've even bought parts off of eBay. In a pinch, you can actually find these parts on there. I think I found a subco replacement on there that I was about to buy until this person said that they had it, so I went to go get that one. So just keep in mind, whenever you bypass safeties, it'll work fine if it's under normal conditions and all that, but they're there for a reason. So it could cause other issues. So like if we had left this one bypassed, what happens is that instead of the fans staying off when the timer comes out of defrost, they're going to immediately come back on. So what that means is you got it's a freezer, you got heaters. That coil is going to be very warm. So if you turn on the fans right away, you're going to blow a lot of warm air out. You're going to get a lot of heat just from the heaters themselves. The coil is going to be extremely hot, and then it's going to start to cool. So you'll probably get like moisture issues. You'll get some temperature issues, and you're going to cause different problems. So if you're going to bypass it, it's usually overnight or over the weekend until you can get the part. Same thing with any other kind of switches or safeties, like pressure controls. Those are there in case you lose charge, or if a dirty condenser causes a high head on your system before it kills the compressor. Those safeties are what trip and save it. So don't bypass anything without the intent to replace the part. A lot of the times I see the X removed, and what that does is it makes it go through the whole defrost cycle, whether you set it for 45 minutes or an hour, even if the box is warm. So that also causes the same issue. You're going to have moisture. They're going to complain about water on the roof or on the ceiling. They're going to say that the box got really warm for like an hour. So stuff like that. That's why when I put this one back, I went to go check, because he had told me the X was removed. So I went up there to put it back on, and now they're good to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. I actually posted a story on this call last night when it happened, and I had some questions on it. And I had already planned on doing a video on this anyway to explain the switch and how I came to the conclusion of it being the switch and not just going and adding Freon or anything. So if you found it helpful, leave a like, comment. If you guys have any other tips on the topic, go ahead and leave that. If there's anything I missed, go ahead and comment about it. If you guys have any suggestions or you need help on anything, let me know. These are just going to be bonus videos to help you with troubleshooting. And like I said, these will be like if I was training somebody or troubleshooting over the phone. Like this was actually a over the phone troubleshooting that I did, so I'm explaining it to you since I wasn't the one here or here first. So that's the kind of content that you can expect, just from my point of view of how I think through these calls. And like I said, I hope it helps. So I'll see you guys.